Yeah.
Hey dude, how you doing?
What's good, man? Not much. I'm chilling. I'm good. How are you?
Is there a hurricane happening?
Something's happening for sure. It's
Are
raining.
you in a storm?
No, I'm inside right now.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm chilling. Hold on 1 second. Okay, okay, okay. Get that beauty in there. I'm still learning, y'all. I'm putting it all together as we speak. You're watching it happen in live time. There we go. Let's move this guy around town. It's all coming together. Testing, testing, testing. Grand existence. Grand existence. Grandness. Grandeur. Oh, shnikey. Ah. When I say I'm working it out in live time, I'm really working it out in live time. Alright. So if I'm shouting too loud, let me know. I am not a producer or what have you. I've noticed. Oh shit. Just kidding. No, we're good. We should be good. Background's off. Thumbnail's off. Keith Rodriguez. Yes. Jesus wash us. Was us in the future. Okay, that's great. I got the live chat working this time. I've got the call-in number down there. We're going big this time. I'm putting all of it together. Let me just make more adjustments. We're about to talk. We're about to talk about NMN. We're about to talk about supplements, which is a little bit outside the scope of what JD's Pharmacopoeia has done in the past. But I'm JD. This is my Pharmacopoeia. I talk about whatever I want. Frankly, it's not about what I have the liberty to do. It's about what's important. And we know what's important. You are important. Your health, I'm important. The human being is the greatest technology to ever exist. And we need to use the technology right so that existence can also be great. Existence can be grand. So what is going on? I don't know. I really wanted to talk about something that happened to me the other day that I learned about actually at work. Which is funny. It's great to have a job where I can learn stuff, you know? Most of the jobs I've had in my life is just mundane, there's another word, menial tasks that one of the robots could do. But Jesus was us in the future, bro. Keith, you are just like in left field all the time. I love it, bro. I love it. So what's happening? What is happening? Somebody tell me that everything's good so that I don't know. Or so that I know that nothing is wrong. I'm just gonna check one thing real quick. See. Okay, so we see. Okay, I'm pretty live over here. I'm pretty live. Thank you all for joining. So, grand existence. My computer's frozen. I'm gonna minimize this. I'm gonna get this up. There we go. Okay, so if you're watching this in the future, which is going to be your present, I apologize for all of the delays and the waiting around. Hopefully we can get some timestamps on here so when the channel really starts flowing, the channel from God, not the channel on the technology, but when the information starts coming through, you can just tap right in and watch what's going on. But anyways, as you can see, the title of the show today is NMN. That is nicotinamide mononucleotide. And the FDA controversy. What is the controversy? What is NMN? Oh shit, I got a caller already. No caller ID. That's crazy. Hold on 1 second. Well, fuck it, let's just put them on. Let me mute something real quick. Okay. Hello, this is JD. You're on the air live.
Daddy.
Don't say some... That was my friend being obnoxious. He said, what if I go in there and say some outrageous stuff? And I said, do whatever you want, bro. This is live. We're handling shit. This is raw reality that's happening. So thank you. That's my friend Colton. He's studying to be a doctor in doctor of chemistry. So know that's what the academia is producing. Much love for you, Colton. I expect more from you, my brother. That's not the first time he's done this. So let's get forward. Let's get forward with it. Let's get present. What's really happening? Why is it happening? How is it happening? So let me just mute my Gregorian chants that are playing in the background real quick. How do I do that? Gregorian chants, please be quiet. Maybe if I just turn it down a little bit so it's background, it's not gonna work. Alright, that's off. It's too distracting anyways. So here's the deal. No more, if you could block your caller ID, you're not gonna get on the show. Look. Nicotinamide mononucleotide. What is that? So in the early 2000s, there was some doctors. I don't know how to start this. It's kind of a convoluted subject. But here's what happened. Here's how I came into the knowledge, and that's important. You know, like Morpheus, God of Dreams, but that's just his name in the Matrix. Remember Morpheus? He's like, some people come into knowledge of the Matrix by entirely different means. What does that mean? That means that we're living in a matrix. I want to get into that. I'm not going to get into it now. There's a real matrix and a false matrix. I've explicated on it in the past if you go back and watch all my videos from start to finish. But he says there's many different ways of coming into knowledge of the matrix. And how I came into knowledge of this particular FDA matrix was I was at work and they said, they're like, we keep getting I work in a third-party lab. I like to think of it as mercenary analytics for the supplement and nutritional industry, food, beverages. We'll test anything. If you pay the R&D fee, we'll do it. And so we were looking at, we had been testing this substance called NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, for some time. And it is an expensive supplement. It's a high-grade, high-quality supplement. It's got a bunch of clinical trials behind it. We're going to get into its pharmacology and all that stuff in a little bit. But there is a conflict of interest in the analytical space and the FDA and the supplement space. And that is, they told me that, hey, it's kind of like THC at this point, because you can test for it if it's under a certain percentage, and if it's above a certain percentage, it's a federal crime, and you gotta go give it to the police or the fire department or something. Nobody really knows what the fuck the laws are. Everybody's winging it, but I'm here to tell you that NMN, it's a potent anti-aging therapeutic molecule that promotes DNA regeneration. It supports homeostasis. It supports cognitive function. It has different therapeutics for different ideas. or for different sorry, trying to read the chat and talk at the same time. Look, if you're in the chat, I'm not going to read it as it comes in. I'm going to go back through it when I'm done getting through my thought. Otherwise, I'm going to be all over the place. So there's a kind of conflict of interest going on, and basically what's happening is that something that has been used, something that is natural, something that has been readily occurring in foodstuffs in the human body and animals all throughout organic matrices, bodies of sorts, all throughout various different things that have metabolisms, yeasts and stuff. They use this molecule NAD to as the primary source of energy in the body. And it's not the primary. There are a lot of different energy molecules. There's probably 3 key ones. That's NADH, ATP, and what was the last one? It was FADH2, I believe. And these are the things that are responsible for, literally giving you energy. It's how you take in electrons and oxygen out of the air. It's how you get energy from your food. Your body absorbs certain fuels, certain nutrients, and it converts them into organic substrates. The energetic hypostasis of the body is chiefly ATP. That's the most important one, but there's NADH, there's FADH, which all have critical roles in the functioning of your DNA. If you don't know about DNA, man, that shit's important. And so now NMN is actually the precursor, excuse me. It is a precursor to NAD, which is it's converted metabolically in the stomach readily. NMN, you can eat it from various food sources. You can take a supplement, you can do whatever, and it's converted into NMN, which is, if you're looking at the thumbnail of this show, it's like up there you got the NMN on one side, you got the NAD on the other. It's basically a little bit of a rearrangement and a duplication, 2 of these molecules put together. And it's this molecule which is critical for mitochondrial function, for DNA replication, for muscle repair, for cognitive function, and it protects and restores the DNA. The DNA's main purpose is to continually replicate itself. Now, what they call cancer is when your DNA makes an error in its replication and then it continuously replicates that error. That results in tumors, that results in all sorts of crazy shit that is crazy. And that can happen from any number of reasons. Anything from stress, anything from radiation, like the UV index, that's radiation. It can happen from eating the wrong thing. It can happen from a virus, which is similar to DNA. It can happen from bacteria and infections. There's multitudinous ways that your DNA can become damaged and then incapable of correctly repairing itself. And so what NAD does is it supports that replication process. Simply put, there's a lot of complexities going in here that I can't really get into too much because I only have so much time, but basically I only have so much attention span. It's hard getting your hands around all this stuff at once. But oxidative stress, the body's okay. Let me zero in on the story I'm trying to tell. Nicotinamide mononucleotide. Dr. Sinclair, early 2000s, he realized the therapeutic potential of this molecule. He realized that its metabolic its metabolism of NMN turns it into NAD, which is this critical fuel for your body. And he said, oh shit, if you just feed your body this precursor instead of tryptophan, which is its actual amino acid precursor, it's much easier for your body to get fuel from NMN than if it is scrounging around for amino acids. And the thing about a lot of these medicines and a lot of these nutrients in your body is if you can feed your body something similar to what it needs rather than the building block of what it needs, it's going to use less energy to make what it needs than if it is making it from scratch, essentially. And so amino acids are like the building blocks of life, and it's like they're the letters of the alphabet, and you got to write these letters together to make a book, which is the human genome. And that takes work. That's like a lot of enzymes. That's a lot of energy going into it. So the key to like medicine, the key to supplementation is consuming things like chlorophyll, which is deadly similar to blood. It's got a magnesium instead of an iron. So you just get your iron intake right. You consume a lot of plants. It's going to be a lot easier for your blood to stay pure. It's going to be a lot easier for your body to maintain homeostasis. Now, the important thing here in JD's Pharmacopia's worldview is that your homeostasis is the most powerful tool in the entire world. So you don't want to jack up your homeostasis. And the main thing is that we all do as Americans living off the standard American diet. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're smarter than that. But like, it's really hard to escape. That's another matrix in and of itself. We're living in a kind of dysbiosis. We're living out of homeostasis, like a couple tiers below what is actually the true nature, the natural state of the human being. Now, if you look into the alchemical, if you look into the Renaissance era esoteric material, if you look into the occult and the Kabbalah and the hidden history of mankind, you're going to find that the perfect state of man is what we were before the fall of mankind, before the fall of Adam. We were in a perfect harmony with the universe. And what all these Renaissance dudes are trying to do, what all geniuses are trying to do, in my mind, they're geniuses. They're pioneers in this field in medicine, is that we're trying to get back into that perpetual balance within ourselves and thus within the environment. And so we're just trying to get into homeostasis. I'm trying to drill down the importance of homeostasis so you can see how some of these really simple things such as NAD, ATP, NMN, cordycepin, like all this stuff is paramount to our optimal functioning, to our higher mental faculties, to our creativity, to our relationships with each other, with the environment, and basically to healing the multitudinous ailments that are specific to our culture and our society. Now, I'm not going to list off all the ailments that standard American lifestyle is, but it's a stressful environment. It's an oxidative environment. It is an acidic environment. It is a microbial imbalance in the environment that is messing with everybody. It's really fucked up when you dig into it. But we're not going to talk about the fucked up stuff. We're going to talk about how to get better. And what is stopping people from getting better. Now, it's partly due to like poor life choices. You know, we have free will. We make poor choices sometimes. And that might be because we willingly make poor choices, or it may be because we just don't know. We're ignorant of the facts and of the truth, which is why I suggest, truth seeking to be a very important quest that you partake in your life, is to go discover the truth of the human being. The truth is that you are a supreme being. You were made in the image of God. You are tiny little pieces of God that was made by the Most High. And it had given us, the Most High gave us this endowment, this task of realizing A, our true nature, and then B, actualizing that within ourselves. It's one thing to realize it. It's another thing to actualize it. And so it says in the Gnostic Gospels, like, the Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge. They have not used the keys to open the doors themselves, like the key leads to the kingdom of heaven within you. Like Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. God is within you. But you need the key to get in there. And you need to know that it's within you, first of all, because most of the world is going to tell you that it's actually external. It doesn't have anything to do with you, and you are not like God, and you shouldn't picture yourself like God. And if you do that, there are some places in the world that will kill you for suggesting such a thing. So it just shows you the state of knowledge of the world, the state of actualization of the world, the state of the world in its relationship to the truth. And so, why is it so difficult to achieve these things? Well, we've developed these motherfucking institutions. You know, the federal government has a lot of very strange institutions. One of them is the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. Now, the FDA has all these crazy rules, right? It's like, it's for profit. It's for profit. It's, medicine is a racket. Right, General Smedley Butler, the one of two people in history to ever win 2 medals of honor. He said war is a racket, and he said war is nothing to do with your rights and your liberties and the freedom of your country and all this stuff. It is actually just a financial enterprise by big corporate greed, corporate interests, special interests, and financial groups that are just looking to get more money. Like, it's so simply evil that's what it is. It's fucking, shout out Eli, bro. Talking to him. It's so simple, it's bewildering to see that we know what the problem is. It's money and it's greed, and people are putting financial gain over not just human life, but knowledge, which is beneficial to the entire species. And, Keith, you're about to get banned from the chat, bro. I swear to God. So what they did was created, a racket of medicine. And the FDA has this rule where if they are investigating any candidate for a drug, then that drug candidate then becomes illegal to purchase. And so let's just say the supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it contains thousands of different unstudied molecules, unstudied therapies, unstudied medicinal constituents, which we know are medicinal because we've used them truly for thousands of years, or we know through the history of science that they're quintessential functioning components of our bodies. As Terence McKenna said, we're all carrying, right? We all have DMT in us. We all have cannabinoids inside of us. We've all got NMN inside of us. But because this external third-party institution decides to start studying it for the pharmaceutical industry, now it's illegal. And now people cannot buy it. So people, thanks to Dr. Sinclair, I like to shout out the guys who popularized this stuff, who made it known. It wasn't until the early 2000s that this stuff came to be known. And still NMN came to be used more proficiently. And then we have people who are just can understand reality. They can understand basic stuff. It's like, oh yeah, if I eat this, it's good for me. If I eat this, it's bad for me. And it's hard to tell when you're looking at a white crystalline substance like NMN, a purified molecular isolate. Nobody's going to be able to tell what that stuff, if you got 10 different powders in front of you, you're never going to be able to identify it. But that's the power of science, because they're these are forms of matter and they all have different properties. And so it takes a tiny little itty bitty amount of brain power to be able to connect some dots and see that there are things which are simply good for you, which you do need to have, which are essential for your bodily functioning. And if you want to use those, it's your right as a human being. It's your right as a living entity brought into existence by the Creator. It's your right to be able to treat yourself and to make your own choices over your own body. That's like apparently a big thing in our culture where you don't have the right to make choices over your own body or over the contents of your own consciousness. You know, the state wants to literally control what happens inside your brain and inside your body, inside your vaginas, inside all sorts of shit where they have no authority. The authority is completely unjustified. It's completely false. It's a false authority. It's a demonic, possibly archonic authority. And so they begin to study it because somebody was like, hey, let's turn this NMN thing into like an actual pharmaceutical. And so now that there are industries that have been built up on supplying this to people, and then there are mass populations of people which are treating themselves with it, they're benefiting, they're increasing the quality of their own life. You know, it's good to take, even if you are healthy, it's good to have on you. But if you're not healthy, if you suffer from something like many of us do, if you don't, count your blessings. But if you have problems, like, you know the importance of medicine, you know the importance of like the pharmaceutical industry. It gets a lot of hate, but it's very important to have. You know, war is a racket, but I keep guns, right? I've got an arsenal, and I believe that extends, you know, the right to bear arms. It extends to toxins and poisons. It extends the right to bear arms as simply the right to protect yourself against tyranny. That's it. Now, if you don't have the right to protect your actual body against the tyranny of nature or of the cultural paradigm, which is fundamentally fucked up, then that makes us nothing more than a new kind of slave. We're the new slaves, as Kanye said. Shout out, Ye. And, you know, it's interesting because at work we're like, well, it's illegal. The supplement industry wants us to test it. We're not really allowed to. They're not allowed to do it. We are allowed to test it. It's this weird gray area where we have to abide by regulations, but there is no regulation for it, but it's still illegal. So it's just a clusterfuck, man. It's so messed up because as soon as it, you know, like maybe the studies fail and they're like, oh, NMN, we can't turn it into a drug for whatever reason. Like, you can't patent natural molecules. You have to make alterations on them so that they can be patented, and that so that you can have money made off of them. And so I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen with it, but like, honestly, God forbid it does get patented, because that's going to mean that the supply of it will then, instead of being freely available to the human being, it's going to become constricted down to a very select small few people inside this giant bureaucratic bullshit, which is going to limit the supply. They're probably gonna modify the drug in some weird way that makes it worse for you, and it destroys your stomach lining or weakens your blood-brain barrier. I don't know. They fuck drugs up, they fuck nature up in all sorts of ways because they lack forethought, and these little robot scientists just want to like study. They just want to like, I don't know they don't see the bigger picture, man. Like, their minds are so compartmentalized, and they just care about, you know, getting their name on some literature and putting it out there, that they may or may not do more harm than good. This happens a lot in many different many different branches of the world, many in the technology sphere and in the in everywhere. Like, we have a compartmentalized mind. If you think you're an American, you know, you got a compartmentalized mind. You know, you're one with nature, bro. And so if you're like, oh, I'm Nick, and I am an American in the state of Virginia, and I went to school and I study chemistry and I do this, like, all that is a superficial imposition on top of something that is not that to begin with. And so you layer yourself with this matrix, and then it's like there's a maze now where there never was a maze before. And this is the devil of the bureaucracy. And so it's like, what's happening is that individual liberty is being suppressed for collectivist, globalist goals and agendas. If I can say that, right? I can say it. I did say it. And it's messed up, man. It's messed up. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. It irks me every day. I'm like, why do we live in this world, and why don't we do anything about it? So I'm trying to say something about it, and also offer potential opportunities for remedying or subjecting these pseudo authorities to justify their legitimacy, which we know they can't do. They haven't done. They haven't been able to. And so we must dismantle them. And how do we dismantle them other than by stop obeying? Anywhere where you find somebody giving orders and somebody taking orders, you got to be incredibly suspect of what the chain of information and the chain of intention really is, because chances are it's not for your betterment. Chances are it's for your oppression. It's for your imprisonment. It's for your continual enslavement to continue to give over your power, your divine spark, your creative force to other entities, which they don't have access to theirs, and so they must vampirically take it from others. Now that's exactly what the government is. They're governing the mind. Okay? They are getting into places where they should never be. And so how are we going to overcome this? How are we going to get past the fuckery that is unfolding here? Well, I'm a big fan of education. I'm a big fan of plant medicine. I'm a big fan of natural products, chemistry. I'm a member of the infamous Dead Chemist Society. Fruits and Flowers Official dot. What is it, Yosh? If you're in here, plug your website down there so I can plug it on here. Fruits and Flowers dot, like flower or something. I can't remember, but the Dead Chemist Society basically is people who are using the knowledge of the ages to self-empower them and to bring equilibrium to the planet. And so, teach a man to fish type shit, man. We're trying to bring equilibrium to the planet. Now, if we all become fishermen, we're all going to be able to eat. If we all become the optimal functioning version, the grandest version of what we truly are, there will be no force that can stand against you. If it says Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, I forget which one. They're all the same fucking dude. With God on your side, who can stand against you? Nobody. No fucking FDA. No fucking Kamala Harris. No Donald Trump. None of that shit. No, nothing. Nothing can stand against you. So you got to step in to who and what you truly are. And who and what you truly are, a part of that is these energy molecules. NADH, ATP, FADH. There's a bunch of others, and all these cycles in the body that are happening are continually converting things into fuel to allow you to experience reality. And if these things are not in the right ratios and concentrations in your body, then you're going to be not capable of steering the ship, sailing the ship in the correct direction. You're going to be fighting the winds. And so I did a little bit of research. I'm big into research these days. As you can see, you can't really see, but like I don't have my lab right now, so stuff's moving a little slowly. But here's the knowledge you need. NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, it occurs in nature abundantly, albeit, which is another word for though, not in great bioactive quantities such as you will find in the supplements that are produced on the market. So, I personally, I can 100% extract this from the environment and make a supplement for you, for me, for anybody, if that's what you want. But also you should know that it is readily occurring in these rich leafy greens. It's in these vegetables. It's in the vegetables. That's where it's at. Leafy greens, spinach, tomatoes, edamame, avocados. That's a fruit, I think. It's in a lot of different places, and you can naturally get it if you're drinking that green smoothie every day. Now, it's going to come down to you just making... The revolution comes down to you making the right choices for yourself. Period. Which is funny, because it's like, you should have been doing that the whole time, instead of eating freaking McDonald's every day. You disgusting fuck. I'm sorry. I'm guilty of it too. McDonald's got a great frappe right now. But, caffeine, and that's another topic, but we should be eating, we're frugivores. Look at our teeth. These fucking sizers, man, they're for chopping vegetables up. Meat, good for you. Vegetables, great. Fruit, you should have a dominant fruit and vegetable based diet throughout the entire spring, summer, and fall. And in the wintertime, you should be eating those earthy fruit, those things that grow in the winter, the beets, the potatoes. You should be eating the meats. You should be hunting a deer and eating it all winter to sustain you until the next fructification, until the next spring, until Passover or midsummer, all these holy days. If you didn't know about the holy days, they're all lined up to the seasonal procession of the equinoxes. They're all lined up to the equinoxes and the solstices. Every holy day falls around... Eli said pause. I don't know. Pause what? Am I paused? Somebody tell me that the sound is good, because if I'm talking to myself in here, I'm going to fucking cry. But the holy days are all about the changing of the seasons and when the environment is in this state of balance. Now, if you look at the analemma, the giant figure 8 in the sky that the sun makes as it travels through the year, if you take a picture of the sun every day at the same place at the same time, it's going to make a giant figure 8. That's because we're spinning like a top. We're on a wobble, and there are still points on this thing. Like when the figure 8 crosses, that's X marks the spot. That's a holy day. At the very top, the summer solstice, that's a holy day. That's when, like, St. John was beheaded. If you get down to the bottom, everybody knows what happens. On the winter solstice, Jesus rises again. The sun sits still for 3 days, and it rises again after it stands on top of the water. And so we need to find this balance within ourselves. Because the human being is a giant chemical equation. Plants growing in nature are a giant chemical equation. And you need your reactants in the right ratios to produce the right product so that you can reach chemical equilibrium. This is alchemy. This is the union of opposites, the merging of dualities. As Hegel said, the sublimation. No, it wasn't. That's not what he said. Hegel said. Oh God, the motor of creation is the thesis and the antithesis, in constant juxtaposition, merging together into what he called sublation. Now you take the sublation and then you internalize it. Now this is alchemy. This is the balance between the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of the brain, the masculine and the feminine within you. They say God is genderless. He's beyond gender. In the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus said the Virgin Mary is like me because she's neither male nor female. She's this other Greek word that meant combination of them both. It's like achima or something. I don't speak Greek, I don't remember, but go back and read the Gospel of Mary, and it'll say in there, she donned the garment of Christ. She was the bridegroom. Okay? It's the finding a balance within yourself. And this is not something that happens overnight. You're not just going to do the Kundalini yoga and then, your spine's going to light up and then, Philosopher's Stone cure all in 1 second. That's not the way it works. This is a great eternal work that you must put in on yourself. You are the mission. Your body coming into understanding and then actualizing what you truly are. That's the mission. That's your purpose here on this earth. If you didn't know, Keith, your purpose on this earth is not to, spam dicks in the chat box. It is to understand and explore your own consciousness so that you can create what you're truly trying to create. See, the problem in the world is we have such a fucked up worldview that when we set out to do something, we often get results not in alignment with what we originally intended. As David Bohm, one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, father of the Bohm interpretation of the double slit experiment, says the first thing that a proper worldview is going to do is allow us to create in accordance with what we truly intend, instead of trying to create and then actually end up destroying. We try to solve problems that we have, and instead of solving them, we create more problems by trying to solve them. And so that just means don't go shoot up the FDA. Don't do that. Don't, bear literal arms and think that you're going to go fight the government, because first of all, these guys have thermonuclear weapons. You're going to lose. Oh, we got a call. Eli's calling in. I'll call him right back, or maybe he'll call me. Eli saw that a little too late. Hit me back. They got thermonuclear weapons. You can't win. And so what you got to do is work on yourself. You got to drink the green smoothies. You got to do the workouts. You got to do the breath work. You have to be conscious of what's in your mind, of everything that you consume in your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth. You got to set up customs at all the ports of your senses so that the internal aspect of you doesn't become corrupted from the nature of the material world in the Maya, in the illusion of this false matrix. All right, we got a live caller coming in. This is Eli. He's my he's a world famous botanist. We're going to see what he has to say. Eli, my brother, welcome to the show. Thank you for your presence, dog. How are you?
JD, thanks for having me, man. It's an honor. It's great. How are you, man?
I'm outstanding, dog. I just had to get in here and express myself, It's like people don't know what's going on, and we're passive about it. And if we were just more active in understanding what's happening before us, we're not going to be so beguiled. We're not going to get so fucked up by this tyrannical nation state, which is constantly doing terrible things to us. What do you think?
Well, I just have a question is kind of tying that back to plant medicine. And I was also wondering if you have anything beyond plants, like any algae or anything like that. Any knowledge on that?
So, algae is sort of a plant, not really. It's a protist. It's sort of alive, it's not. So, your question, if I understand it correctly, is how to use things beyond plants which can help us, which can empower us to, in this revolution of consciousness against the tyranny in the world?
Essentially tying this all back to the plant medicine. Exactly.
Well, the plant medicine is the greatest teacher on the planet. Like, they're teachers fundamentally.
Man.
There are so many different plants. You know, you got things like ashwagandha, you got things like datura, and then you got things like algae, and that's a big spectrum right there of different bioactivities. And
Can you talk on algae? Can you talk on algae bioactivity?
I can
I'm not really familiar with.
So I consider algae kind of like the Philosopher's Stone, because it has everything. Algae has been doing the same thing for millions, maybe billions, I'm not sure, hundreds of millions of years for sure. It's one of the oldest organisms on the planet. It's really good at staying alive and replicating, which is our fundamental drive. That's what's in our DNA. We got algae DNA in us for sure. But beyond that, the algae itself, it's got some unique compounds. It's got carotenoids, it's got chlorophylls, it's got some various pigments, it's got I think astaxanthin in it. It's got some specialized metabolites. They're not incredibly complex, but they are medicinal to us. But the important thing that algae has now,
Right. What makes it the Philosopher's Stone?
it makes it the Philosopher's Stone because I want to tie this into Dr. Linus Pauling, the two-time Nobel Prize winning discoverer, you could say, theorizer of electronegativity, which revolutionized the understanding of chemical bonding. And he said basically that he wrote the book How to Live Longer and Feel Better. And he said that there are essential nutrients and there are non-essential nutrients. And there are macro and there are trace nutrients that we need. And these macros are like amino acids. They're not complex, but they are organic molecules, which they are, like I was saying earlier, the fundamental building blocks of life. Our body does not produce amino acids, or a certain number of amino acids. There, I think, are 11 essential amino acids, which you can't produce. You absolutely have to get them from the environment. That's one thing. Algae contains all of these amino acids. So they call it a superfood. It has more protein by weight than steak does.
Just like any member of the genus, or is it like the specific species, or any algae I could just eat and just be a superhuman, or what?
No, some algae is not good for you. I mean, they do contain these things, but some of them contain other things that are neurotoxins. So specifically, I'm talking about Spirulina chlorella.
Isn't that what they have in like smoothies and stuff?
Exactly.
What? It has neurotoxins?
No, not those ones. The other ones do. The bad ones, the red algae, other species.
Spirulina is the Philosopher's Stone?
And so here's the thing, is because so there are trace elements too. So I was talking about the concentrations and the ratios of these essential nutrients in our body. They're essential because we don't make them. We have to get them from the Earth's crust. Now there are things in our DNA that act as cofactors in different enzymes and proteins in your blood cells. Like, you don't produce iron. You have to get that from your diet. You don't produce
weren't you saying earlier though that you don't need iron? You can give your body something close to iron, but like the chlorophyll.
No, I said
and it like uses what it has.
I said that iron is in blood, and that chlorophyll is a near duplicate of the blood cells. The only difference is the magnesium at the center of the chlorophyll versus in blood, it's got iron. You can make basically the whole blood molecule minus the iron in your body, and you have to get the iron from the environment. And likewise with all minerals, your body does not produce minerals. You can neither create nor destroy matter. You can rearrange matter, but you need to get minerals.
Inorganics.
You need to get the inorganics, and it gets convoluted because of the nomenclature and the vernacular. It's like inorganic and organic. These terms, They're confusing from a scientific standpoint, but from like an average person standpoint, they're organic, and we need them because we're organic beings. From a chemical standpoint, they're inorganic, but you need those inorganic things. It's the same thing. So to put it simply, it's all these metals, all these minerals, iron, magnesium, sodium, gold, all this stuff is in your body. There's gold around the heart, but you don't make gold. Your mother might pass down some to you when you're in the womb, but you need to replenish it throughout your life. That's why algae as a supplement, it contains these trace minerals which are deficient in the standard American diet. If you're eating standard American Cisco foodstuffs, you're not getting the right mineral concentrations to adequately support your homeostatic faculties. So you need to supplement. We all need to supplement something that contains these so that our DNA can function properly, so our bodies can function properly, so we can develop properly as children and adults and continue to live long, healthy lives. Hell yeah, I got some algae. I got bags of spirulina, cans of spirulina. Yeah, bro, I'll send you some.
How much is it?
I don't know. It's on the website, jdsfarmacopoeia.com. Might be like $15 for 4 ounces. $15 for 4 ounces, $20 for 8 ounces, I believe is the price.
What? That's still the 8 ounces. Say less, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
But you can buy bulk,
so
you know.
So you get this Philosopher's Stone, bro.
So
you get this Philosopher's Stone, and then what? And then how does this help against the tyranny, bro?
Because it puts you into the captain's seat of your own consciousness. The Philosopher's Stone is better called the philosophic stone. Because while we are talking about minerals, the Philosopher's Stone is not a true stone. The Philosopher's Stone is when you actualize yourself as a God-man, the Word made flesh. Your Atman... I love you, dude. Your Atman is Brahman. Our souls are all one with the grand soul, with the Creator. That's the ultimate message. And alchemy, Gnosticism, Hinduism, all the world's various mystical traditions, they're about realizing yourself as God. And so that's the Philosopher's Stone. And you can't, I personally, you know, there's a saying within Hermeticism, within alchemy, as within, so without. If you have chemical imbalances.
Hold on, say that again. And what does that mean? As within?
As within, so without.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you. It means that it means that the consciousness, it means that the world is a reflection of your consciousness. That your consciousness is a reflection of the world. It means, simply put,
Damn.
The greatest spiritual maxim I could ever give you is this: all is self. Self is all.
Spirulina expedites this process.
Spirulina will allow you to realize this truth because it's going to put you in an optimal state of physiological functioning. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that yes, you do not need to be in an optimal state of physiological functioning to realize your godhood. However, it's going to be a lot fucking easier if you are in a physiological optimal state. See what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. I see exactly what you mean.
Because your body will naturally do this. You will naturally have dreams and intuitions about the nature of the world and the nature of yourself when you are operating nominally. And I'm saying that nobody's...
The numbers.
The signs, the numbers. People are mystical beings, and we kind of disallow ourselves from believing it all the time because it's never actually told to us. But when it gets down to the actual everyday experience, like, we all have ideas about God and about nature and about ourselves that go beyond what the conventional worldview really is. And so if we can harness that fundamental aspect of our personality and nurture it and grow it and fertilize the grounds of that truth within us, then we're going to grow into a God. We're going to grow into something that would be akin to a supreme being. We become Jesus. We become the Buddha. We become these super sentient advanced beings. And then we become the gods of the earth. They say the earth is the devil's playground, but not for long.
The earth is the devil's playground. Who says that? I've never heard that.
You never heard that? I think it says that in the Bible. It might not, though. Somebody says that somewhere. They say it definitely...
You can't perpetuate that.
It definitely says...
No way.
It definitely says in the Bible that Satan is the god of this world. And in the Gnostic Gospels it says...
it says that in the Bible?
Yeah.
Source that right now.
You want me to source it right now?
Come on, it's source it somewhere. Where does it say this?
I'll tell you.
Tell me, talk to him, bro. Listen, $20 for 8 ounces. I'm on this.
all right. I'll hook you up, dog, for sure. Corinthians 2 Corinthians 4:4, the verse reads, "In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image..." Well, it's not the right one. ChatGPT, you can't trust it. Hold on.
I can't trust it. Not yet.
Let me pull the real verse up, because it is absolutely a verse in the Bible.
I know you got it, bro.
Yeah, well, it depends on the translations, but 2 Corinthians 4:4, "Satan, who is the god of this world, has blinded the minds of those who do not believe. They are unable to see the glorious light of the good news, everyone. They don't understand this message about the glory of Christ, who is the exact likeness of God." So it's an Old Testament.
I think that speaks highly to the susceptibility of us falling into the hands of Satan, but I don't think it says that he's the ruler, or Satan's the ruler of this world. You know what I mean?
It says again in John, "The God of this world is no match for him." No, I mean...
Am I extrapolating? I don't know.
You are extrapolating, and I agree with you 100%, but I think what it's saying is akin to, if I could syncretize it with the Hindu tradition, is that we live in a time when God is not, the reality of God is not properly understood by the inhabitants of earth. And in the Hindu tradition, they say that we're living in the Kali Yuga, and it's when the lies and the tyranny and evil is essentially running the world, and that people don't know about the nature of God. They don't know the spiritual truths. They don't understand what they are, and therefore foolishness transpires.
Do you feel like there's always been a disconnect, or there's almost like been an increase in separation over time? Or do you think it's always been just like, how long have we been this far gone?
I think, my personal philosophy, so the conventional worldview is that mankind spontaneously gained sentience about 2000 BC in the Hindu Kush and the Indus Valley, right?
Okay.
I think that that's like what the conventional worldview says, that is the origin of civilization and of higher intelligence for human beings. I argue, and many other scholars argue, that there is a more advanced ancient civilization that predated the conventional arousal of the human consciousness in 2000 BC, 3000, 4000 BC. I forget the exact date. It's like within 6,000 years of the past. That is where humanity was essentially conceived. Now, I would say that was actually the end of one era where truth originally was the forbearance, the bearer. The truth was present on the earth before that in near completeness. But some things happen which are spoken about in the Hindu literature, which states that there was a war and there was a cataclysm. The world ended. We're talking about the Great Flood and the Nephilim, and the fallen angels came down to intermingle with humankind. They talk about the fall of man. In the Abrahamic tradition, they talk about the fall of man. And in the Mahabharata, in the Vedas, it's much more detailed. I'm jumping around so many traditions right now, but I'm trying to show you that there is a perennial narrative that is occurring upon multiple world religions that all say is a very similar story. Some of these narratives are more watered down than others, but I think that we certainly we as humans had an ancient advanced civilization that was aware of the knowledge of God and how higher intelligence truly worked, and then that came to an end, and then very small, it didn't come to a complete end, but very small fragments of that civilization is what actually seeded the new, quote, the new world, the new civilization, the Indus Valley, the Hindu Kush, the natives that we know today as the conventional start of mankind. So I believe history is far older than we're being led to believe, and there is a lot of archaeological evidence that suggests that. But the conventional narrative is a strong spell which binds the majority of academia and thus the entire education system and thus the world into believing that we are this young species who miraculously discovered language. Like, nobody actually knows why. It's a big question how we discovered language, math, architecture, and culture started to develop for humans.
Language is just seems like a primitive, like a means to communicate, for food or for directions, for a hierarchical system. Like, it started with sounds, probably.
It did start with sounds.
I agree. Like the Sphinx, like the carbon dating on the Sphinx, the head and the body.
Yeah.
Totally different. Totally ancient knowledge. Hey, I gotta get to it. I'm still listening, but I gotta clean these floors at this distillery, man.
Yeah, bro.
Much love, JD. Your knowledge is impeccable, man, and unreal and vast, bro. Love you, bro. Love the show.
Love you too,
Forever.
dude. Thank you for talking.
I'm getting this spirulina, bro. $20 for 8 ounces. Come on, man. I'm getting
At
that.
least.
At least. See you, brother.
Love you, dog. So this knowledge that I'm talking about, that we're all talking about, this is lost knowledge. This isn't new. I'm not bringing anything new to the table. I am bringing what was ancient and forgotten back into reality. And if you look back in the history of the Renaissance, if you look back in the history of basically every advancement in society, you find people which were divinely inspired and more often than not believed exactly what I'm telling you, that there was an antediluvian civilization, a pre-flood civilization that was advanced in its understanding of higher intelligence, advanced in its understanding of the mechanics of reality, and it was able to do things that we can hardly conceive of today, that we would claim as science fiction and mind-bending. And so they had the blueprint of the spiritual being, of the body, of consciousness. And that's the key thing here that we are misunderstanding as a society, is that consciousness is fundamental to the nature of reality. It is not material. There is no such thing as atoms. There is no such thing as particles. There is no such thing as a physical world. I know this phone feels physical, and your hands and the ground and the air and the tables and everything feels physical, but there is no physical. There is only a world of potentiality and possibilities that is carved and molded by your beliefs, your understanding, your perception, your perceptual limits, and that when you can expand your perceptual limits through a visionary experience, which is something a plant can give you, it can generate an image in your mind without external input, sort of like a dream, exactly like a dream. Then you can learn new things about reality, about God, about self, about others. You can infer more about your experience, your relationship with reality, than if you were to just simply study reality externally. That's why this all comes back to plant medicine, because you really got to go inside your own consciousness. You got to sit down, lock up your senses, lock up your mouth, stop talking. You gotta sit still and withdraw yourself from the reality and go within, because you will realize that there is a larger reality at play. You've got non-local knowledge, which is imbued into the fabric of what you are. Your DNA represents a massive library of cosmic information, which all of the ancestors predating you have been building and writing for you, but we live in this tyrannical system where we can no longer access it. Now, can we not no longer access ourselves? We can't even access the things which are outside of ourselves, which can help us become healthier and better versions of our physical selves. Like, we have fallen down the ladder of knowledge, Jacob's ladder. We are like cascading down this holy mountain. We're damn near at the base, probably an infinite mountain, but I hope you see what I'm trying to say, is that we have the knowledge, we have the power, we can make it happen for ourselves. And so there are plant medicines that can help your cognition, your conscience, get into a meditative state of mind. There are plants that can help there are animals, plants, there are things which can help your physical system find harmony within itself, which will make it easier for you to look at yourself and for you to use that higher vision, that higher mental faculty, which taps into this ethereal, supernatural component of the world. And so, that's all I think I've got to say about anything and everything. And I will be here again, repeating it back to you. Repeating it back to you as often as I possibly can. So, I don't know. I think if I don't get another call in the next few minutes, let me check and see if there's even any. If there's no live viewers, I'm going to dip out of here. If there is, then, say something if you want to be heard. Speak now or forever hold your peace, because we're going out pretty soon. Yeah, it looks like it's just me watching this. Thank you all for joining. If you're watching this in the future present, God bless you. God blast you. I don't like, bless, be less. Sometimes I wonder if these words are set up to make us fail. But in any event, I want to thank you for your time and your attention. I want to urge you to do the right things for yourself. I want to urge you to seek truth and find peace and explore your consciousness and come into a greater understanding of who and what you truly are, and actualize that understanding and become who and what you truly are. Thank you very much, denizens of the universe. I'm JD. Have a grand existence. with love. Stop streaming.